Would you like to explore a career in pharmacy? Did you know that there are multiple specialties within pharmacy, such as the one we will be highlighting today, which is veterinary pharmacy? Well, then stay tuned because today in our career exploration episode, we will explore this and so much more. Welcome to College and Career Ready, the podcast that helps you motivate and inspire your growing teen to be college and career ready. I'm Sonia Cacique, founder of Discover You College and Career Coaching, and I will be your host and guide on this exciting journey towards a bright future. Our mission is simple: to empower our parents and students by elevating their confidence and resourcefulness. We believe that you deserve all the tools and support necessary to open the doors to endless possibilities of success. And with our community, you don't have to do this alone, so come with me and let's get started. Hi, friend. Today, in our career exploration episode, we will be talking about a career in pharmacy. We will discuss different specialties within this field, plus a focus in veterinary pharmacy. So make sure you share this episode with your growing teen or college student. Our guest today is Alexandria Arnett. She is a third-year pharmacy student at Texas Tech. I promise that even if you are familiar with a career in pharmacy, such as I have been for many years, this episode will have you walk away with some pretty amazing takeaways from the field and even tokens of inspiration. But before we get started, I want to thank you for being here today. And if you can do me a huge favor, I'd appreciate it if you can share this episode with a friend or two, because you never know whose life you can change by helping others explore career opportunities that they may have never even thought of. Share it with your parent friends, with your community, or with other students. Thank you for continuing to help us grow our community and helping others find a career path that motivates and inspires them. So now, let's hop right into our conversation with Alexandria and further explore together a career in veterinary pharmacy. Welcome, Alex. Welcome to the College and Career Ready podcast. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Sonia, for having me. I've been looking forward to this for so long.
I know. Same here. We connected on LinkedIn. And when I saw your experience, your career that you want to pursue in veterinary pharmacy, I was like, to have Alex on the podcast to share with our listeners about this very, very specific niche. And I've been in pharmacy for many years, and I had not really thought about this specific niche. So I'm so excited you're here with us today to share more about that. So why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So like you said, my name is Alex, and I'm a third-year pharmacy student at Texas Tech. I'm located out of the Dallas area. So people who don't know this, Texas Tech has 4 locations for their pharmacy. So we have campuses in Amarillo, Abilene, Lubbock, and Dallas. So I've been here for all 3 years, and I'll be here for next year as well. So all 4, I'll complete in Dallas. But I'm originally from San Diego, California. I grew up there my whole life, born there, graduated high school. And then when I was 18, I decided to go to my undergraduate at the University of Texas in San Antonio, where I went to get all my prereqs and things like that.
Super. Oh my goodness. So from San Diego to Texas.
Yeah, it's a big story. I'll just make it as short as possible.
Yes.
So, and we can talk about this later on, but when I actually went to UTSA, I actually dropped out of my first year with a 1.9 GPA. And I thought, this isn't for me. And so I just kind of worked at some jobs. I worked at Perry's, Chipotle. And then I ended up moving back to San Diego, and I entered into a pharmacy technician program. And through that program, at the very end, they had me do an externship at CVS. And that's where I really got my start into pharmacy, like my first feet into the water there. And that's when I decided to go back and pursue pharmacy. But that wasn't until maybe 4 years after I had dropped out of my undergraduate.
Alex, we need an episode just on that topic alone. Because so many students see successful students like yourself and professionals out in the field, and they're like, wow, they must just had it all together from the beginning, and they had just had this track record. And I love your story because it really
broadens the opportunities for so many students, especially students like yourself that dropped out or that college wasn't the right fit at the time, but you still brushed yourself. You got back and then you decided to come back and continue to pursue your degree. So go ahead and tell me why you were as a pharmacy technician. Were you just planning to continue to be a pharmacy tech for the rest of your life? Is that your plan?
Yep. So when I did my externship, it was only for 6 weeks, and then I was going to have to find something else. But the pharmacy manager at the time liked who I was and my work ethic. And so she hired me on as a full technician. And I took my licensing exam, like my tech licensing exam, passed that. And then shortly after that, I would say about a year into that, I was promoted to lead technician. And so I did all the duties that a lead technician would typically do at CVS. So managing schedules and helping train and yada, yada. But then I thought, okay, I like the pharmacy world. Like I like this aspect, I like talking to the patients. I like seeing the medications. I like helping out, talking to the doctors, being part of that interprofessionalism. And so then I said, okay, well, I want to go back to school, but I was so nervous. And like you said, we can talk about this forever, but I was so nervous about going back. I said, I failed the same biology course twice in a row, both semesters at UTSA. And I still didn't do well. I still got a D in both of them. Like, I don't know if this is for me. So the first thing that I did was I enrolled into a local community college and I just took one biology class. I said, if I can't do this, then that's it. This is my path and that's okay. And I'll still be in the field and I'll love it. And I'll, grow in any other way that I can. But I ended up getting 102 in that class because of all the extra credit and things like that. And I said, oh my gosh, it wasn't because I didn't know anything. It's not because I didn't have anything. It's because when I was 18, I left the drive to pursue something that I was passionate in. And so when I found that drive in pharmacy working as a lead clinician, I thought, okay, this is it. And then I went full blown. I took 5 courses every semester. I did all my prereqs and I started to apply to pharmacy schools 2 years later. And I missed Texas so much when I was in San Diego. So I said, I'm only applying to pharmacy schools in Texas. So yeah, but there's so much more I could go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when did you decide? So you decided you wanted to be a pharmacist, right? And you decided that you were only going to be applying to schools in Texas. So you applied to a couple of different programs, I'm assuming?
I did, yeah. So funny thing, my best friend who was a technician at that CVS in San Diego also was applying to pharmacy schools in Texas. So we decided to both apply to some of the same ones. And so we applied to UNT, Texas Tech, and Texas A&M. And so I got into all 3 of those locations. And then when I dug deeper into each one of those programs, I really wanted to go more of the clinical route because I had been so experienced at CVS on the retail side for 5 years. And I thought, let me broaden a little bit. And so I looked for programs that had more of a clinical hand. And one of the things that Texas Tech really opened my eyes on is that they require a geriatrics rotation. So not all pharmacy schools require that. So we do have to. And I just thought that spoke a lot about the university in terms of, making sure that their students were well-rounded and make sure that they had expertise and hands-on clinical experience in almost every area of pharmacy that we have our hands in. So that's why I ultimately chose Texas.
Very, very good. Is there anything about Texas Tech that grabbed your interest outside of the pharmacy program?
They had a strong school spirit. And I also kind of like the multi-campus aspect. So Texas A&M does have 2 campuses. UNT just has the one. But Texas Tech having 4, I just thought, well, this is an opportunity. If I didn't like Dallas, I could go to Abilene. If I didn't like Abilene, I could go to Amarillo because we have the ability to change campuses. And so I thought that would be an opportunity for me to explore different areas within Texas as well, because they're all around. And, with Abilene and Amarillo, they're very much in that panhandle. And so you're serving really the rural communities. And so I thought that was also a really unique thing that Texas Tech had, is that I had the opportunity to go out and do that if I felt the need to, which I have done.
Very, very, absolutely very cool. So for our listeners, whether it's parents, students, or educators, can you tell us a little bit about what a pharmacist does?
So pharmacists are your drug experts. So pharmacists are the people that are going to make sure that all the medications that you take, whether it be one, whether you're polypharmacy and you're taking, 10 to 15 to 20, as much as many of our population does, especially in the geriatric population, we want to make sure that you're taking them safely, that you're taking them correctly, that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing for you. And we really work as an interprofessional team. So it's not just us. We really work with the doctors, we work with the nurses, we work with your PT, all of the specialties that you see maybe in a hospital. We are there as well. And we are just as part of making sure that you go home and you're safe and you're healthy and that you don't have to worry about when to take, what happens when I take, because we are there. And we are one of the most accessible healthcare professionals also, because you can just come to our CVS and ask us a question. You can come to the local Walgreens, the local grocery stores that have pharmacies, the compounding pharmacies. You can just come in and ask us a question about your medications, and we will be there. We also participate in point of care testings in certain states and in certain facilities. We can also help you get tested for, COVID, maybe strep, flu, things like that. So we are really there for you as a patient and as a person and as a healthcare professional.
Hi, friend. Before we dive back into today's engaging discussion, are you eager to stay up to date with the latest college and career ready news, insightful blogs, and gain early access to the following week's episode topic? Well, we've got just the thing for you. I'm thrilled to introduce our College and Career Ready newsletter. By joining our community, you'll get exclusive access to all the valuable resources we have to offer. How do you join? It's simple. Just head over to collegecareerready.org, all one word, collegecareerready.org, and navigate to the resource tab. There, you'll find a sign-up link to our newsletter. It's quick and easy to join, and it's the best way to stay connected with us and elevate your college and career journey. Join us today at collegecareerready.org and click on the resource tab, where you can sign up to our newsletter. We can't wait to welcome you into our community. Thank you for being part of our podcast family. And now, back to the show.
I love that because let me tell you, I have found very resourceful to have the 24-hour pharmacy just down the street when I need a last minute phone call or, question in regards to the children, if they're, running a fever, whatever. And, it has been a very good resource to have a medical professional just down the street 24 hours a day. I love that. So you are in your third year of pharmacy school, right? You have probably had enough experience to determine by looking at your peers and what your professors have said and yourself. What skills do you think a student needs to be successful in pharmacy school and ultimately in the career of pharmacy?
I think in pharmacy school, I think the biggest skill that you need to have is dedication. I think that you need to, I don't necessarily think passion is everything. You're not going to know what you want to do in your first year. When I was in my first year, I didn't even know that all of these specialties existed. I fully went in thinking I was just going to graduate, work at CVS, continue my Roth IRA, and just, live life like that and retire through CVS. And then you go in and you are open to a whole new world of specialties. So I wouldn't have to say that you need to have this passion and this overwhelming drive, but I think what you need to have is dedication, and you need to have commitment to yourself that you can do it and believe in yourself, and also utilizing the peers around you, because pharmacy school is a whirlwind and you're not going to get through it alone. You have to sometimes rely on the people around you in your groups, at your friend groups. They really say, I'm sure every pharmacy school has this, but they call us a pharmily, which I think it's really cute, but it's really true. I mean, these people are going to be next to you for the next 4 years. They're going to be there to watch you grow and to watch you be part of different orgs and have different passions and get interested in different things, and your downs and your highs. And I just think that it's important for you to build that community. And as a student, I think that's one of the most important things, is to have the dedication for yourself, and also to have your peers around you who support you and who you support as well.
Yes, and more yes. I agree 100% with that. Tell us about the skills that you think a student, potentially should have once pursuing a career in pharmacy. So what do you think are skills that really highlight being an exceptional pharmacist?
Something that I didn't really realize was that pharmacists have a big role in problem solving. And so you really, just like with other medical doctors and nurses as well, but we really have to think about all aspects of not only the patient and their disease state and then maybe their comorbidities, but we also have to think about the drugs that we've learned and that we've become experts on over the last 4 years and think about if this works and why, and if not, why, and what's different, and what can we change, and what at the very end of the day is really going to help that patient out. And so I think that one of the biggest skills that I've learned and that I think is going to help me in my pharmacy career when I graduate is my problem solving abilities and also my dedication to not give up and my drive to just say, there is a solution. There is enough research, there's enough progress in the medical area that in the pharmacy area that we can have a solution for whatever patient comes our way. And we just have to be dedicated and we have to have the heart and the drive to problem solve that for them.
Nice, nice, nice. So tell me now how you got introduced into veterinary pharmacy. How did that come about? Because this is,
You know,
it's exciting.
I have always loved pets. So I've always had pets around and we could talk about that later, but I have a whole zoo in my house right now. And there was a time on LinkedIn. And so I will vouch so much for every student to also have a LinkedIn and to network as much as possible. Because I saw somebody come or somebody liked their post and it said Dr. Lauren Forsythe, veterinary pharmacist or clinical pharmacist at a veterinary teaching school in Illinois. And I thought, that is really cool. I didn't even know that existed. So I looked a little bit more. I reached out to her on LinkedIn. I said, hey, could we just like meet, and talk a little bit more about it? And she was so open. And so we got into a Zoom, nothing out to me that she was an RPD. So she was a residency program director, which I had no idea. And so it was like a big meeting with a big person and I wasn't prepared at all. And she was so kind. She talked through me all of these things. And I have one of her things here. She even sent me this list. You can't read it, but it says, so you want to be a veterinary pharmacy resident. And it's a huge list of all the things that I could do in the next 4 years that would help increase my chances. Because for those who don't know, veterinary pharmacy residencies exist. However, they are very limited. And so there's only about 5 to 6. So only about 5 to 6 people every year in the entire nation get accepted. It's incredibly competitive. And so this list kind of helps me, get my name on the board, get me that interview, of course. And so then I start to dig deeper into the realm and I connected with her connections and connected with their connections. And then I realized there was an organization called the American College of Veterinary Pharmacists. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. So I joined. There was also another org called the Society of Veterinary Hospital Pharmacists. So there's 2 veterinary pharmacy organizations, ACVP and SVHP. Then when I went onto SVHP website, they have what's called a student mentor program. And so you sign up and they pair you with a veterinary pharmacist. That's one of their members. So I thought that was really cool. And I don't know if it was fate or what, but I got paired with the president of the ACVP organization, like the president of the entire national org. And her name is Dr. Erica Wasak, and she is amazing. And she connects me with her people. And she told me about her story and what she does. And so then I applied to be the student board member for ACVP. And I got that. And I have one of the reasons why I want to be a veterinary pharmacist is not because I love animals, right? Like that's like a baseline. Like we love animals, of course. That's pretty standard. But it actually tied back to that problem solving. So as we go through pharmacy school in our curriculum, we're taught the disease states, the medications, the side effects for these drugs in humans. However, there's this whole side of drugs that we're not being taught. That's not part of our normal curriculum, which is the drugs in animals. We use human drugs in animals. We are those drug experts in those human drugs. We should know kind of the general area of what happens to them when we give them to patients. When you go to CVS, you can fill your dog's medication at that CVS. And, you can try to ask the pharmacist questions, but they may or may not know. And so something else that's pretty interesting is that pharmacists are the only healthcare professional legally allowed to service both humans and animals. We are the only,
Wow.
so we are that connection between the two. And so I think that that's the most, that is what drove my passion. I developed that passion at the end of my first year. And that is what took me to do all of these different things, which I could go on a list of, but I won't because it would take an hour. But and then I just became more and more when I dig into, oh my God, this ibuprofen, can I use it in dogs? Tylenol. Some people don't know this, but Tylenol, you cannot use in cats. Like just, you cannot use it. But some people are like, oh, it works for me. I got pain. I got fever. I can use it. No, it will be very fatal to your cat, but
Wow.
people might not know that. And these are things that we can, educate, that we can be a part of. And, you know, when the medical doctors a long, long time ago, when it was just them, they might have been a little apprehensive about having pharmacists come in and do rounds with them and things like that. But we've been able to show them that we are an integral part of this team and that we care just about as much of the patient as they do. And so that's also something that I'm trying to advocate this pharmacy profession for in the veterinary world. Because again, we are that connecting point between the two. We can tell the veterinarians how the humans drug work. There are veterinary only medications, and we can use that for research in the human world. It just goes like this, and we're right there in the middle doing both.
I love that. I love that. And to follow up with you on your comment about LinkedIn, that's how you and I connected to our parent listeners, student listeners, and educators. Create a LinkedIn account. You have no idea how many connections, job titles, career opportunities that you can explore just by creating a LinkedIn account. And we actually had an episode, I believe episode number 63, where I had a student just like you come in and talk about the reason why students should be creating a LinkedIn account. So thank you for sharing that and being open about the opportunities that came to you just by connecting on LinkedIn. Thank you. The other thing I wanted to mention was the integral part of the pharmacist, like you said, with veterinary science. I've heard so many students wanting to be a veterinarian, and then they're like, oh, but I also like pharmacy, and this is like a perfect match.
It is. I actually just talked to a student the other day who was trying to start her own ACVP chapter at her program. And so she reached out for advice, and she was that same way. She was like, I wanted to be a veterinarian my whole life. And then I realized I don't like surgery. And then I realized that there was a veterinary pharmacist, and I thought, oh my God, this is perfect. And so those career paths can be perfect for people who might find, that the veterinary program is not for them, but never knew that they could be a veterinary pharmacist and still help out as much.
Absolutely. Super, super exciting. So, what career opportunities are out there for veterinary pharmacists? Have you come across job titles or career opportunities for a veterinary pharmacy?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest veterinary pharmacist career paths, well, actually, I would say there are two. So one is to work in a hospital. So every veterinary school or veterinary program is going to have a pharmacy within their school on their location. And all pharmacies in the United States have to be run by a pharmacist. And so a lot of pharmacists will go there. And so a lot of the board members, a lot of the SVP mentors, a lot of them work at these hospitals at veterinary programs. The other option is a compounding. So veterinary pharmacy is huge with compounding as well, because if you think about it, you can't just take your run-of-the-mill ibuprofen suspension off the counter and give it to your 5-pound dog and do the same thing for your horse. Much different in terms of pharmacokinetics and all kinds of things. So, we got to go and utilize our pharmacists who are experts in compounding to make sure that we make a patient-specific tailored medication for them. So a lot of veterinary pharmacists either own a compounding business or work underneath one with somebody else. And so a lot of the time, those will be compounding for both human and veterinary medications. So those are two of the biggest ones that I have heard of. But some of the other ones, you can work directly with a veterinarian at their clinics. And so it'll be like a remote job. And the veterinarian will send you their prescriptions. You'll verify them, make sure that they're accurate. And then you'll say, okay, this is good to go. You can administer this or you cannot administer this. There are positions within the regulatory field. So we are trying to get a huge push with veterinary pharmacy, getting it established within the curriculum, getting them board certified, licensings. There's getting the laws with compounding changed so that it favors the pharmacist being more involved in that patient care, especially with animal care, all kinds of different things in the regulatory field. So you can focus in that or work at a compounding like the USP. You can work in there. I've also heard people like being an author. And so you can write textbooks. So academia would also be another one. So teaching at the hospitals, teaching at pharmacy programs, veterinary pharmacy specific things. I actually have this book right here. This is the pharmacotherapeutics for veterinary dispensing that a bunch of pharmacists and veterinarians work together to create. You can work and be a part of plums. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with plums. So there is a program called LexiComp for humans, for pharmacists to look up all the drugs. But there's that same application, but for animals called plums. And so you can work as a pharmacist and make basically drug monographs and say everything that they need to know about that drug in a specific animal. And then research. Research is also another big one. And just creating more medications, getting them FDA approved for certain animals, certain disease states, things like that. So there's a lot. I mean, because the world is so small right now and it's growing, anyone who really goes into veterinary pharmacy really has the ability to kind of create their own path and try to go in whatever direction they'd like. So also working at a zoo, that one is my favorite.
Yeah,
So that's
I
one.
didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So the
Yep.
San Diego Zoo
Mhm.
right now has pharmacists who are employed. And so they are on site at the zoo and they work with it. And so that's actually something. So I don't know if you happen to see, but I am also at the Dallas Zoo right now, not as an employee, but I am at the Dallas Zoo as well. And so that's something. So you can work in the exotic field as well.
That is so amazing. So if a student is interested in pursuing this career, would they basically apply to a pharmacy program? And then how do they specialize in veterinary pharmacy?
Yeah. So you would just go to the normal pharmacy program, just like any of us do. So veterinary pharmacists are human pharmacists at like its core level. And then you go and specialize. And that's when you do your residency. So after you graduate in those 4 years, you can go do a 1-year residency at a veterinary program, specifically with the pharmacist there. And that's where you'll get most of your specialization. But throughout your pharmacy career in those 4 years, I've done quite a bit of different things that can help you increase your knowledge. And so, like my program, for example, has a veterinary pharmacy elective that I can take in my 3rd year, which is what I did last year. You can go to PCCA, which is a compounding, it's a compounding distributor, but they also have a lot of training programs for students. And so they have a veterinary pharmacy compounding course that you can take. There's so many different things that you can do while you're a student to help increase your knowledge before you graduate and go into that specialized training program.
I love that. And, to really expand the knowledge in areas and specialties that business can go into, can you just give our audience an idea as far as what other specialties that could go into if they decide to pursue pharmacy school?
Yeah, absolutely. So pharmacists have a role in almost every field outside in the medical field. So we can specialize cardio specialty. We can specialize in hemonc, which is like hematology and oncology or cancer. We can specialize in neuro. We can specialize in vet. We can specialize in, I wouldn't say you can specialize in community, but they do have community pharmacy residencies that you can do, which are real great. So there are a lot of different options that pharmacists can go to, or you can go the clinical route and you can go and work at a hospital. And then infectious disease is a really big one as well. So, and in promoting antimicrobial stewardship.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Alex, for sharing all of this knowledge and really opening our eyes to the many opportunities out there. Can you tell us what are your future goals and plans? You have one more year.
I know, it's so exciting. So with my program, we get 2 electives. So they're called API rotations. And so I get to choose what I would like to do. So in the immediate future, I'm actually going to be doing an API rotation, hopefully at the Colorado State veterinary program with one of the pharmacists that I met through ACVP. And then that original connection that I met on LinkedIn from the University of Illinois, she is also accepted to take me on as a student. So I'll be also going to the University of Illinois at their vet program and shadowing and rotating under her. after I graduate, I hope to get accepted into one of these residency programs. That would be incredible and specializing. And then after that, when I go to my vet pharmacy residency, they're going to kind of put me in different areas. So I'll kind of go into avian, I'll go into exotic, I'll go into big, large animal like horses. I'll go into different fields and then I'll be able to kind of really tailor which exactly area I want to go to. But something that I'm really interested right now is exotic, which is why I'm at the Dallas Zoo right now. So I'm hoping that that stays consistent and that I can find a job at a zoo. But I would also eventually like to get back into academia and teach pharmacy students or teach veterinary students pharmacy related topics. And then eventually, at long term, open up my own veterinary pharmacy residency program, whether it be here at Texas Tech, hopefully, because we don't have one yet, or whether it be at any other pharmacy program that's willing to put another residency on their on their list. That would be incredible.
Love that. And I wish that for you and so much more. Is there anything that I have not asked you that you think parents, students, or educators should know, or something you'd like to share with our audience?
What I do want to say is that even if you're in a spot where you're stuck and you don't know where you go, you think, oh, I don't have a passion. I like a lot of different things. I don't know what to do. Or maybe you're pursuing pharmacy and you're just like, I don't know if I'm going to succeed. Just take the step. Just do it, because you don't know how much support you're going to get from those peers that I was saying earlier, or the support you're going to get from your program, the support that you're going to get from yourself when you step into that building for the first time wearing your scrubs, your white coat. You are going to feel an overwhelming sense of accomplishment, and it's only going to drive you further and further and further up the ladder. So please don't stop just because you can't figure out what your 10-year plan is, or what your 5-year plan is, or even what your 3-year plan is. It's okay. Just take that first step.
Super. I love that. I love that. Would you like to share with us maybe a favorite song, playlist, or book for fun?
I'm super into Harry Potter. So I'm currently on the 4th book right now. And then I do have my zoo. So I will quickly go down my list, if you would like, of animals that I have. So I have 3 cats, and I just got one kitten, the 3rd kitten, like a week ago. I have a 10-gallon a freshwater fish tank that has a couple of frogs, snails, a betta fish. I have a 20-gallon fish tank that has a crawfish, a gigantic pleco that grew to this big, and some other fish in it. I have an albino leopard gecko. I have a milk/corn snake, and I have 2 gerbils.
Hi. To clean and feed so many animals and be a pharmacy school.
You know what? I have no idea, but I just love it so much. I love taking care of them. Sometimes when I'm a little stressed, I just sit, and my partner can tell you this, but I just sit in front of the tank and I just watch my fish go, and it just kind of clears my head, just watching them do their thing. And then I just go back to it. And it just helps so much to have them around.
I love that. I love that. Alex, how can others connect with you or find you?
Yep. So I'm on LinkedIn, of course, as we mentioned earlier. So you can look me up at just my name, Alexandria Arnett. You can also email me at my school address, which is ALEARNET@ttuhsc.edu. That's super long. But LinkedIn is probably the best way to connect with me, because that's much easier to type in.
And I'll make sure to have it on the show notes, so that'll be easy and just a click away.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Alex, for spending some time here with us. I know you have a very busy schedule with your zoo in your dorm, and with your job and everything else that you're doing right now in your education at Texas Tech. So thank you so much for spending this time here with us and sharing with us what a career in veterinary pharmacy would look like.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope to be back on again.
I look forward to that.
Hey, friend. I hope you enjoyed this interview. I'd love to hear from you and let me know what was your greatest takeaway. You can connect with me on Instagram, LinkedIn, or send me an email at info@collegecareerready.org. Again, that's info@collegecareerready.org. Thank you for joining us, sweet friend. And as always, stay well, be present, and enjoy the journey. I'll talk to you next week. Hi, friend. Thank you for listening in. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you share it with a friend. Share it with them right now, or even better, tag me so I can personally thank you for helping us build our community. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. Let's keep in touch and I'll talk to you next week. Adios.